Hi everyone, if you're new here, my name is Paul. I'm a psychic intuitive here on TikTok and on YouTube, so if you'd like more in-depth reading, be sure to check that out. Today, if this found you, this may be meant for you. The High Priestess, okay? You're starting to see and understand that there's more to life than what meets the eye. Okay, you're starting to understand intuition. I feel like you're having your first run-in with, maybe your first initial spiritual awakening, okay? The Knight of Wands. You're rebuilding and putting up barriers after your experiences have led you to do so. Okay, you're putting up boundaries. You're putting up walls, which is not necessarily always bad. This is the Knight of Swords, okay? And he talks about moving forward unapologetically, very fast, very logical, okay? But with the High Priestess being the overall energy for this reading, you need to make sure that you're also using your intuition in tandem with your logic, all right? The way that you're rebuilding and putting up your barriers is absolutely 100% something that you should be doing. But you need to be putting up those boundaries and barriers with emotion, not with logic. Because if you put up a boundary with logic, you're almost cutting off the information or the growth that you could experience from that. Instead of showing your fears hate, show your fears love so they can transform into something else, okay? And that's what you're learning to do. With your emotion and you tapping into your intuitive energy is what's going to make these boundaries way more healthy. So you can be able to look through and still speak to the people on the other side of your boundaries while still having those boundaries. While you're still able to communicate with them, because I feel like the person that you're trying to cut off, you don't need to cut them off. You need to put up healthy boundaries so you can have space, so you can have time. And they might get angry at you at first, but trust me, they will come back, okay? They're not gonna block you forever, okay? But putting up those healthy boundaries with emotion rather than logic, rather than anger, putting up those boundaries with love. Don't put up boundaries with hate, okay? Because I feel like that's what you're kind of doing, but I want you to remember that the High Priestess lives within you, okay? That is intuitive, that is emotion, that is understanding that there's more, okay? And I need you to really tap into that when you're putting up these boundaries, because if you don't, the repercussions of putting up the boundaries is stagnation, okay? You won't be able to move forward, because I feel like the people that you're trying to push away are actually some of the main people that are going to help you grow on your journey, okay? So, I know that was kind of a short one, but I really don't have anything else for you guys. I feel like I just needed to tell you to make sure you use your intuition in putting up these barriers, as well as using your logic, but more so use your intuition. Because putting up boundaries with love will make them way stronger.